It took me nearly a decade to get diagnosed with endometriosis, and even longer than that to get diagnosed with PCOS as well. I was dismissed, gaslit, and told that my pain was normal. If you're also struggling to get answers on things, I want to share with you 10 things that I wish that I knew sooner, because maybe it'll save you years of pain, and if not save you years of pain, but maybe give you some clarity on what's going on and that you're not alone in this. Hi, I'm Lexi. I live with endometriosis, PCOS, POTS, and a handful of other chronic illnesses, and I host the Chronic Chronicles podcast. It took me years to finally get answers, and even now I'm still learning how to navigate life with these conditions. Today I'm sharing 10 things that I wish that I knew earlier in my diagnosis process. If you're newly diagnosed, still searching for answers, or maybe supporting somebody with endometriosis or PCOS or other pelvic conditions, or honestly maybe any chronic illness, I hope this video makes you feel less alone. Okay, I have 10 things. 1, it's not just bad periods. Canceling things or missing school or missing work or being in pain that makes you cancel things is not normal. If pain is disrupting your daily life, that's a sign that something deeper is probably going on. 2, diagnosis takes years and it's not your fault. On average, it takes 7 to 10 years to be diagnosed with endometriosis. That delay is not because you didn't try hard enough or you weren't in enough pain. It's a failure on the system, not you. 3, you need a specialist. Not every OBGYN understands endometriosis or PCOS. For endo, Excision is the gold standard. Unfortunately, when I got diagnosed with endometriosis, I had an ablation. It was an exploratory surgery to look for endometriosis, and I didn't know that endo specialists existed. I didn't know what excision surgery was, and I don't think ablation is not a bad thing. I think with the combination of combination of excision surgery, it can be fine, but going into it not knowing that there are options is an issue. For PCOS, it's not just about birth control. PCOS is a metabolic disorder. It's hormones and metabolism. 4, PCOS is not just cysts, which is something that I didn't understand. And when I got diagnosed with PCOS, I was really confused because I don't actually have that many cysts. I've gotten cysts every once in a while, particularly on my left ovary, which I don't know why, but PCOS is not just cysts. The name is actually really misleading. You can have PCOS and actually not have cysts at all. It's really about hormones, insulin resistance, and inflammation, and I was diagnosed with PCOS based off of hormones, and now I have insulin resistance. Thank you, PCOS. Love that. 5, diet and lifestyle can help, but it's not a cure. Endometriosis actually doesn't have a cure. It's chronic. It's treatable, they say. I mean, there are things you can do to help manage pain, but there isn't a cure for it. Eating anti-inflammatory, moving gently, managing stress, these things help. But if you've tried everything and you still struggle, it's not your fault. You're not alone in that. I have had an endometriosis diagnosis for almost 8 years, and I still struggle to manage my symptoms. 6, pain management is a toolkit. Pain management is amazing. You need to look into all the things you can do to manage your pain and to give you back a little bit of the life that you had prior to being chronically ill. It's not one magic fix. I feel like for a long time with endometriosis specifically, I struggled because I didn't understand why there wasn't something that could just like fix my pain. And maybe that was like because I was also young, I don't know, but endometriosis, PCOS, all chronic illnesses are very complex, and it's never going to be just one thing that makes you feel better. It's more likely than not going to be like a combination of things, a combination of everything. Western medicine, holistic medicine, diet, lifestyle, movement, different pain tools, heating pads, ice, CBD, Zofran for nausea, like a whole bunch of things. For me, it's a mix. Obviously, I have medications from my doctor. I also get weekly massages that are covered by insurance. Look into that. If you go to, well, at least with me, I found that most of the time I can get massages covered through insurance if it's through like a sports medicine place, not just like a spa type massage. So weekly massages, medications from my Western medicine doctor. I also have a naturopathic doctor that we talk about supplements to help manage my PCOS because I also don't want to be on that many medications. So I have found that I'm actually like very adverse to a lot of medications. I always have the listed side effects, like almost always. So all of that, therapy, pelvic floor physical therapy, but then there's also just like things that help in my daily life, like heating pads, hot baths, CBD, magnesium. Build your own toolkit. Look at all the things that you can get for help and get them. I know that that can be like an expensive journey, but I really think that having a pain toolkit for when you have a flare helps you get through it easier. I think that being prepared for the flare, because you know that it's going to happen at some point, is the best thing that you can do. Okay, number 7, advocacy is everything. We need to talk about it. We need to advocate. We need to be our own biggest fan. We need to be our biggest supporter. Bring notes, track your symptoms, ask questions. You are in charge of your body. This is your body, your one life, and you deserve to be informed. You deserve to have your your questions answered. You deserve mutual respect from your providers. All of those things. Those are basic human rights, I think, anyways. And if you're dismissed, it's okay to get another opinion. It's okay to find a doctor that respects you and listens to you. And I'm not saying doctor shop, but I am saying date around with your doctors and find people that are on a similar page as you and that will listen to you, because they do exist. You're not difficult. You are quite literally advocating for your health, and you should continue to push, and you should continue to ask for help, ask questions, get your questions answered. And for me, like, I was always nervous that I didn't want to make the doctors feel disrespected or feel like I'm questioning their intelligence or anything like that. But a good doctor will want you to ask questions and will want to answer your questions, and you deserve that. Even with like a medication, I mean, that's like my biggest thing nowadays is asking for the research on why they're prescribing that medication. My doctor tries to get me to take a lot of medications that are just kind of like confusing. Like, I don't know why she would think to prescribe them for me. And I have a right to know. I have a right to understand like why she's doing that. Okay, number 8, mental health is part of the journey. Living with chronic pain affects your brain too, like in a multitude of ways, one of them being literally inflammation affects your brain. But 2, anxiety, depression, trauma from dismissal, it's all real, and you don't have to do this alone. I think that therapy, and you don't even have to do traditional talk therapy. There are so many other therapies that you can do, like somatic therapy, movement therapy, a whole bunch of things. That I think all of that is equally important to medications, because if you're holding everything in and you're never letting it out and you are feeling lost and frustrated and at your wit's end, you can't handle all of that by yourself. And take this with a grain of salt, because I don't mean it in a bad way, but you can only talk off the ears of your partner and your friends and your family so much before they can't help you anymore. And really, it's not their jobs to help you in that way. I mean, they're there to support you and they're there to help you, sure, but they're not therapists. They're not credentialed to do that. They don't know how to make you feel better, and they're going through their own stuff too. So I think that mental health and going to a therapist is equally important. It's part of the journey, and I think that everybody should be in therapy in some shape or form. Number 9, community will save you. Community will make a huge difference in the quality of your life. I fully believe that. I've seen it firsthand with so many people, and I've experienced it firsthand with myself. The first time someone said to me, "Me too," I cried. I felt so justified and also not alone anymore. Like, even one person was feeling the thing. And then And then sad too, because they were experiencing the same stuff that I was experiencing, which was awful. Find your people online, in podcasts, support groups. You don't have to do this alone. And in my description, I do have a couple of community platforms, one of them being a Discord that I am technically in charge of, but I did not create. So there's a lot of information in there. Would love for you to be a part of it. Go there. Tons of community. You can also listen to my podcast, the Chronic Chronicles Pod. But there are like endless other resources that you should definitely branch out and look for. And number 10, last but not least at all, your worth is not tied to productivity at all. Or fertility. And a lot of times with endometriosis, I know I did, and I know a lot of people did too, but we get told that endometriosis, one, is going to affect your fertility, which it might, sure, so could PCOS. Lots of things can affect your fertility. But two, that you should get pregnant immediately to help your endometriosis or to preserve the chance that you can have kids, which is factually inaccurate, for one, no. And two, that you should get a hysterectomy to help your endometriosis, which is also factually inaccurate. Now, if you have adenomyosis, which is a completely different disease, sounds similar, is kind of similar, different. Adenomyosis makes a little bit more sense to get a hysterectomy, but at the same time, not exactly necessary. And two, hysterectomies do not do anything for endometriosis. Well, they might do a little bit, but they don't do everything for endometriosis. The definition of endo is endometriosis-like tissue growing outside of your uterus, attaching to nearby organs and then replicating. So taking out your uterus is not actually going to take away the issue, you know? But so many of us feel broken. Your value is not in how much you work, how productive you are, how much you give back to society in a money-making way, or whether you can or can't have kids. You are already whole. You are already a whole person. Despite what you do for a job, what your career is, if you can have kids, if you can't have kids, or even if you don't want to, if you don't want to have kids, you are already a whole person and you are deserving of a whole life. If you're watching this and you're still needing answers, I see you. If you're newly diagnosed, I hope this maybe helps you skip the years of confusion, but I'm sure that you'll still have confusing moments, and that's totally normal and totally okay. But I'm sorry that that's part of the process, unfortunately. And if you're supporting someone, thank you. We need you. Chronic illness is hard, but community makes it survivable. Community gives us a little semblance of hope again. If this video has helped you at all, or if you agree with anything, or if you have anything else to input to the 10 things, please leave it in the comments. Subscribe, follow, subscribe for more vlogs. Also, all of the podcast videos are on here as well, so feel free to go listen to the podcast on YouTube and watch the video. But if you don't want to watch the video, you can listen to the Chronic Chronicles Pod anywhere you stream podcasts, and leave a comment there. I would love to hear what you think of the podcast. I'm also on Instagram at Chronic Chronicles Pod. Feel free to interact there. Would love to talk to you. If you want to see how I'm putting these lessons into my real life, check out my Health Rebrand blog, which, if I haven't posted it yet, will be coming soon. And I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for listening. If any other endometriosis or PCOS warriors are listening to this, I love you and I'm so sorry, but we are killing these diseases one day at a time, and I'm so proud of you for showing up.